Hey bud, how you doing? Welcome to Herp Corner. Here we are in the Buenaventura Reserve in Ecuador. Approximately, very high off the ground. Good thing I don't have a fear of heights. Gulp. Also, do not attempt to recreate what I am doing here. This is not proper suspension equipment and isn't safe at all. I'm just using it because I live for the thrill. I hunger for the rush. Where we'll be talking about the Mourning gecko, also known as the common smooth-scaled gecko. In German, they're called, oh boy, gewöhnlicher Schuppenfinger-Gecko. In Spanish, Gecko enlutado, tuqueque, and salamanquesa. I hope that's right. And last but not least, in Chinese, I think simplified Chinese, but I may be mistaken, alin chihu. Apologies to the Germans and Chinese people in the audience tonight. And their scientific name is Lepidodactylus lugubris, a much easier string of letters to pronounce. Usually, an animal's got scientific names in other languages, specifically in the places they're found. Knowing that, and knowing the fact that the Chinese-speaking, the German-speaking, and the Spanish-speaking all have names for this species, makes you think, well, what the hell kind of screwed up distribution do these boys have? Or girls, I guess. Oh, we'll get to that. But yeah, so they don't have an IUCN report, which pisses me off, considering that means we don't actually have a good idea for their distribution. However, the wiki page, which cites a ton of papers in these localities, so I'm confident that it's accurate, states that they are found in, and get ready because this is an exhaustive list in both senses of the word, to quote, "This species is widespread in coastal regions of the Indian and Pacific Oceans, including the Maldives, Sri Lanka, India, Myanmar, Malaysia, Hawaii, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Japan, Taiwan, China, Indonesia, Singapore, Philippines, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Australia, Cocos Island, Western Samoa, Guam, the Society Islands, Pitcairn, I don't know how to pronounce that one, and the Mascarene Islands." Whew. Also, I'm coming in to say, I didn't catch this initially, but the wiki page that I was reading through doesn't include, well, it left out quite a few parts that these guys are native to in the actual wild. So I just kind of wanted to straighten it out. The wiki page forgets to mention the fact that they're native to basically all of South America. Which is a pretty big thing to miss, I want to say. They are native to Central America, which is, Mexico, Ecuador. Wait, no, not Ecuador. Mexico and all the other funny guys in there. And the Galapagos Islands, which is a pretty big thing. I don't know how the wiki page just didn't include that. Why? What? That's pretty important. Anyway, shout out to John Wikipedia. He could do better, but we still love him. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled. I think it's fair to say that they don't have any population decreasing issues. Quite the opposite, actually. They're non-native invasive to quite a few locales. So out of the many, 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 many places we listed they're found in, the only place they're supposed to be is in Southeastern Asia. I think it's important to define what invasive actually means versus simply alien. An invasive species is one that was introduced to a foreign environment and wreaks havoc on the natural order of it, whether by causing predator populations to spike due to being an introduced food source or by predating on the native wildlife. Either way, it often revolves around the invasive species populations doing fairly well in that new environment. On the other hand, an alien species is one that, although not necessarily native, causes little harm to its environment. Take dandelions, for instance. Here's a fun fact. Dandelions were introduced to California, Mexico, Canada, among others, in the 1600s by the Spaniards, French, and the like. Although they weren't native here before, they don't really cause any notable harm to the organisms in our native ecology, which is great! Wouldn't have it any other way. But note the fact that they were brought here by colonizers. That's an important tidbit. It's often theorized that the mourning gecko is so shockingly invasive at the faults of the settlers spreading them around. That theory isn't without merit, as far as I can tell, due to the fact that almost, if not all, of the places they're invasive to have been, at some point, colonized by one way or the other. All deeply unfortunate, by the way. Deepest regards. But Yeah, mourning geckos are just the more invasive version of dandelions, basically. Oh, and if you're curious about that plot thread specifically, consider reading up on, continuous expansion of the geographic range linked to realized niche expansion in the invasive mourning gecko Lepidodactylus lugubris, Dumeral, and Bibron, 1836, which are who discovered it and when they discovered it, by the way. I swear, it's not as boring as the title makes it out to be. They do a ton of hypothesizing and proving and all that nice sciencey stuff. Good read. Link in description. Also, just want to make it clear that I am not for demonizing invasive species. They're not evil by any sense of the word. I mean, obviously, they don't have a moral compass, they don't even have a prefrontal cortex, but that's no reason to judge them negatively. Mourning geckos are still pretty awesome, and them being horribly destructive to quite a few ecosystems is merely a testament to how freaking hardy they are. Seriously, an absolutely fantastic beginner species. Actually, on that note, we can talk a little bit about their care, just a little, as a treat. It's kind of funny, there's a million more resources out there about their care than there is info on their natural history. Usually it's the other way around. Hey, it just makes my job easier. I'm not complaining. Well, kind of. Okay, so let's start with a nice little enclosure. A popular choice is an Exoterra crested gecko bioactive terrarium, considering it meets all of their requirements, and just looks pretty neat, let's be real. Also roughly the easiest to maintain. Since they're arboreal, taller is better, given their, no offense, tiny baby stature, specifically around 3 inches. A small enclosure is okay. Maybe even preferred in some circumstances, since a smaller enclosure makes it easier for them to find where you leave their food. Speaking of, they've been found to do very well on Repashy crested gecko diet, which is wonderful if you've worked with it before. It's literally so easy. Look, I'll make it now. Hello? Hey, what the hell? What is going on? What? I'm gonna make some crested gecko repashy here, to demonstrate how freaking easy it is. I love it. I love this stuff. By the way, I'm here making it on top of some, critter keepers. I do not keep animals in these unless for transportation, okay? It's not like a permanent thing. I need you to know this. It's important to me that you know about that, okay? Alright. Oh shoot, where am I gonna put this? That's the microphone, by the way. I've had people comment like, why is that microphone so big? Is that how it is in America? No. This one is just, it's designer. I don't know. That's not true, by the way. Okay, anyway, I need to, for little repashy right here, I'm gonna make like 4 little things of it because I have 4 guys who eat it in total, which include, this is my little mister, which includes, I don't know if you can see, you can kind of see, like like 2, this isn't sharp, I can wave it around. Like 2 crested gecko enclosures, and then over there, 1 crested gecko enclosure, and then way off, kind of sort of out of frame, is my recently new gargoyle gecko enclosure. She's great, I love her. Her name is Leviticus, like the book in the Bible. I'm not Christian, don't be weird about that, but it's a funny book. It's hilarious. Anyway, no, but not in the mocking way. I'm in a hole. Okay. Anyway, let me teach you how to make this. Easy. There's actually only 3 steps related, and I'll walk you through it. So, step 1, you just put you can barely see it. Well, step 1, put a bunch of powder in like your little cups of choice. Whoever makes these, what are they called? It's like, I think Repashy makes these. I could be wrong, but you know, they got like little ones of these for sale at probably any like Party City, though do keep in mind that any little like plastic sort of cups, or yeah, whatever's that you find at like Party City or Ralph's or whatever, do note the fact that they will not fit in your crested gecko food holder. That way will not work. I learned that the hard way. I have 4 bags of little things of like little these that just barely don't fit, just barely, like I'm talking like a centimeter too big, and it is the most frustrating thing. But don't worry, because I can still use them. I'm not gonna throw them all away. Who do you take me for? John Carbon Footprint? No, that's not me. Instead I can just use them for the enclosures that don't have the little, you know, the little things that hold the cups in them. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You know what. Okay, alright, step 2 in the process. Are you ready for this step 2? This is like a butter knife. This is like a kid's toy knife. I can like, touch it. Don't worry about, like, my knife safety or lack thereof. Anyway, step 2, get your little pooper, your little, one of these. What is it? Mr. Spritzer, poopies. It's like a spray. A spray. Any, like, you know, the stuff that they use at, like, hair salons to, you know, with your head. Like, those work, too. Though, do make sure to dechlorinate the water. Yes. I put like, a whole glob of, dechlorinator in it. That's not a measurement. But you know. I put a whole glob of the, Reptisafe. Love that stuff. You're... Make sure the water that you use for your crested gecko repashy is fully dechlorinated. Otherwise, they will just eat chlorine and lead. Do you want that for him? Do you want that for him? Oh my god. Oh, by the way, the same thing with mourning geckos. I forgot that the context of the reason why I'm filming this is because I need to edit it into the mourning gecko video. Yes, mourning geckos. I mean, mourning geckos, you probably gotta worry about it even more so. I say probably. No, you most definitely have to worry about it even more so. Because they got smaller bodies, you know? The water to... The water to chlorine to body ratio... So just in case you're not keeping track, step 1 to making mourning gecko food. Put repashy powder in a little one of these. Step 1, put the powder in the one of these. Step 2, fill it with water. Step 3, mix. Step 4, profit. Come on, you know this. Ooh, oh, important thing to note. Let me tell you about this. Something that I used to do. I don't now because, it's kind of unnecessary, but you should, actually. It's probably a good idea, is go out to, like, your local, like, Albertsons, Ralph's, whatever, and you know those little, like, glass, baby food jars? You know, they got different flavors. They got, like, carrot, they got banana, they got the other ones, and I'm not saying feed your crested gecko only that. No, that's a good way to give them bone density disease. What's it called? No, the bone disease that's, like, weirdly common among beginner reptiles, like bearded dragons and stuff. What's that called? Oh my god. Feeding your crested gecko primarily baby food is a good way to give them bone disease, which is not something that you want. I think that just goes without saying. No, that is something you definitely do not want. Pro tip, if you want to offer your little guy, your little man, or your little girl, slash woman, some extra enrichment for fun as a treat, then mix some baby food, different flavored stuff, you know, like you could try watermelon, you could try strawberry. I'm just now remembering fruits. And you can mix that into the normal repashy. That's the thought. Took us a while to get there, but we got there. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, a good way to vary up their diet, you know, have them get extra sort of vitamins, and it's not just the same thing every day. Because that can drive someone into just straight up just insanity. I'm not saying that's the case with crested geckos or mourning geckos, but you never know. Oh, I got repashy on myself. Oh, I'm gonna have to eat that later. It's a little snack for me. Got some beautiful repashy here, all varying in consistency. That is okay. That's fine. I used to, like, beat myself up about it. I was like, oh, it's too soupy. Oh, it's too goopy. No, it's supposed to be goopy. It's supposed to be soupy. Just as long as they can lick it and scoop it into their mouths with their big, gigantic, wet tongues. That's good. It's fine. So here, I'll show you a little example of what... Okay, I'll show you a little example of what it looks like. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's a beautiful... Oh, man, isn't that just delicious? It's not even focused. It's not even focused. Come on, focus. Focus on the beautiful food. Oh, it was there. This should go on, like, r/food porn. I don't use Reddit. But it's just... Am I gonna get banned for saying porn? I hope not. Well, I just said it twice. Okay. Anyway, I don't want anyone to comment on this little man down here. He is here for emotional support, okay? Additionally, No, nobody comment on how much of a mess my bookshelf is right now. It will stay that way, but I don't want you to comment on it. Anyway, back to the funny, like, cartoon character talking to you about reptiles. So, just do that, like, once every other day, and they'll be set for life. Don't give them too much, by the way. Remember how small they are. As for humidity is concerned, spraying them once or twice a day with dechlorinated water does the trick. No heat lamp necessary. Basically care for them how you would a crested gecko. No, you know what? They're just they're just a less handleable version of a crested gecko. Which, hey, nothing wrong with that. I love crested gecko. Actually, on that note, just avoid handling them altogether. They're tiny, they're skittish, not fun. Now let me explain something to you. Listen to this. If you aren't familiar with the poison dart frog community, and I swear this isn't just some random tangent, I swear, it's related. It circles back, okay? A lot of poison dart frog people will focus more on the bioactive vivarium and then add the dart frogs. Dart frogs, for them, are more of just like an extra bit of spice to add to the enclosure. They'll just go to an expo and say, you know what, I got a spare vivarium at home, might as well get some frogs for it. Which, nothing wrong with that, of course. The animals are perfectly well taken care of. But here's the thing. That mindset is sometimes held with, especially, these little guys called the Ufaga pumilio, which is definitely up there in best scientific names, or the strawberry poison frog, which John Underground Reptiles once eloquently described as a strawberry-wearing genes. They are maternal. They care for their toadlets by bringing food to them and hiding them in the leaves of bromeliads. What this means, for someone keeping them in a bioactive enclosure, is infinite dart frogs, basically. They will reproduce, lay eggs, take care of their young, rinse, and repeat. All the keeper's gotta do is clean out the poop sometimes, put some flightless fruit flies in the enclosure, and spray the plants. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Wow, awesome tangent! But what's this got to do with mourning geckos? Well, first off, thank you. Second off, mourning geckos are just like this. I mean, well, they don't care for their young. Quite the opposite, actually. They lay eggs and sometimes go back and eat the eggs, or when the babies hatch, eat the babies. However, if you have one mourning gecko, get this, you don't just have one mourning gecko. You have generations upon generations of mourning geckos, all in one womb. Every Lepidodactylus lugubris is female. They don't need to copulate to reproduce. One mourning gecko has been genetically cloning herself for years, and they're all just running around all across the world. Look at this little person. Would you have ever guessed? No. This process is known as Parthenogenesis, and is common in few species of reptiles. Few, but some. Parthenogenesis makes these gals terribly invasive to basically every household they get comfy in. But it makes them a terrific display animal. Get a vivarium, put your little person in it, or people. Though they're sometimes known to display courtship behaviors to each other, so watch out for some LGBT geckos, I suppose. Considering they're fairly low maintenance and very forgiving, and very, very clone-y, you won't have to worry about this species too much, wherever you put them. Though, do be aware, I wasn't joking when I said that they are known to sometimes eat their eggs or babies. This is difficult to avoid considering they'll often glue their eggs to nooks, crannies, cracks, corners, whatever. Attempting to pull them out can sometimes damage and kill the egg. So approach with caution, and remember, approach with caution. As far as beginner breeding projects go, it literally could not be easier. Incubation isn't necessary, and you only need one little animal to do it. Enclosure size can be small, but not tiny, and they eat something that takes like 2 minutes to prepare. I mean, come on, bud. If you want to start breeding geckos, mourning geckos are right here. They're sold pretty commonly in the reptile trade. You can find them in basically any reptile expo you go to in America, anywhere out there. Anywhere else, I'm not entirely sure. John Underground Reptiles specifically sells them for $25. 25 US dollars. Plus they're captive bred. Hey, good on you, John. Though, since they are invasive to so many areas, I'd honestly say keeping wild-caught specimens is perfectly fine. Actually, just so long as you don't live in Southeastern Asia, which is, where they're native to. It's illegal to catch a mourning gecko and release them back into the wild. I mean, if you can't keep one, it's okay. Nobody ever really gets punished for it too bad if you keep it a secret. Though mourning geckos are known to be little snitches, that's besides the point. Point is, if you catch a mourning gecko from the wild and don't live in Asia, you legally have to either keep her in captivity or, unfortunately, euthanize her. Which is very sad, of course, and I don't know if any of us would really like to do that, but even if you do have to care for a wild-caught one, it's no big deal. Easy baby care for easy babies. Alright, now, before we wrap up, here's 2 truths and a lie about the mourning gecko. Let's see if you were paying attention. A, the mourning gecko is parthenogenetic. B, the mourning gecko has similar care to that of a Leachionis gecko. And C, the mourning gecko cares for its young. Which one was the lie? Feel free to comment below. And do not cheat! You know what they say. A cheat a day keeps all the desires and wants away. You've heard them say that too, right? Oh, okay. Final thoughts. 10 out of 10. I love these dopies so much. Easy care, they look cool, they clone themselves, they're all gay, and I had an excuse to talk about invasive species for once. I love them. Mourning geckos? More like more geckos, please. I love this guy. Okay, alright. I think you know what time it is. As always, sources will be in the description. If you're interested in the topic, I'd recommend looking further into their husbandry or history. If you like what I do and know a specific reptile or amphibian you'd like to see me cover, put it in the comments. Chances are, if you've made it to the end, you're probably like me, who's hyperfixating like crazy on reptiles. Well, if that's the case, then this is the perfect channel for you. Feel free to subscribe since I do these every other week. Like the video to support the channel. Have a good evening, morning, or afternoon. Thank you for listening, watching, whatever. And I'll see you next time. By the way, the lie was answer C. They do not care for their young. You see, I was trying to trick you, because that's what the strawberry poison dart frog does. And I brought them up earlier, so it's like a little, like, switcheroo type deal. Also, I tried to trip you up on answer B. It is true that their care is similar to a Leachionis gecko, because Leachionis geckos require similar care to crested geckos. And if you didn't know that, then I would understand how that could trip you up a little bit. But I did bring up crested geckos quite frequently, so if you have been tricked, it is okay. If you haven't, you're doing a great job! A great job!